at Sadie's grave. Folks, come in closer, please. This is just so painful for us to talk about. It'll help if you just come in closer, okay, please?
It's only now that I can start talking about this without crying, so if you're in closer, it really does help a lot. Please come in. Gives us some comfort.
As I was saying to Sarah, I don't think the house was haunted or cursed. It was just a tragic accident that resulted in our daughter Sadie's death.
I agree with the tragic part, but looking back at everything that happened at that house, I think it has to be more than an accident. I'm sorry. Carrying on with our conversation before a proper introduction. I'm Sarah Trefren, and this is my very patient husband, George.
How do you all do? Please forgive my dear wife. Since the loss of our daughter Sadie in a terrible fire, she's just trying to make sense of what happened that day.
Well, it was barely a year after we lost our Mary Emma, just 17, to typhoid. I remember it so well. A carriage charged up to our farm. People rushed to inform us that Sadie, our 22-year-old, had an accident and we must come at once. But how could we?
Our farm is in Grants Pass, and Sadie had just moved to the Applegate, 9 miles west of here. You see, Sadie and Albert Perry were married on Sunday, April 21st of this year, 1895. The very next day, Monday, they moved to the Neuber farm. And the day after that, on Tuesday, Albert was out with Mr. Neuber surveying some boundary lines, quite a distance from the house.
Sadie was home alone, they said, clearing ashes out of the stove. Once she opened the door, evidently a draft blew a hot cinder onto her apron. It caught fire, quickly spreading to all her clothes. Sadie ran out, screaming. A woman passing by on horseback was the only one to hear her screams. She headed straight for Dr. Robinson.
And when the doctor arrived and saw how badly Sadie was burned, all he could do was alleviate her intense suffering until she passed that evening.
My last conversation with Sadie was just 2 days earlier, on her wedding day. She was so happy with her marriage, her job at the U.S. Hotel. Finally, some happiness in our family after losing Mary Emma. And then we arrived at the farm. Sadie had already passed. She's buried right back there. Her bridal bouquet was one of the floral arrangements. To think that was 6 months ago.
Sadie's husband, Perry, ran the farm for Mr. Neuber, and we thought it was just the perfect place for the newlyweds.
But looking back at all the things that happened in that house, I think tragic events started to occur 30 years earlier, when Mrs. Margaret Long, a middle-aged widow lady, resided there. She was George Neuber's great-aunt. In 1864, Mrs. Long was brutally murdered. George, I can't bear to talk about that. It was awful.
It was probably the most shocking and cold-blooded murder around these parts. Her body was bruised and hacked. Her head was nearly severed. Mrs. Long was known to have money, so robbery was supposed to have been the motive for the murder, but it was just so violent. W.S. Hyde, sheriff of Jackson County at the time, conducted a most diligent search, but the investigation failed to give any clue to the perpetrators, and to this day, that murder is shrouded in mystery.
Oh, you see, that house has a terrible history, and it was about 4 years ago that Charles Offenbacher rented the farm. Shortly after he married Miss Mamie Cameron, he was kicked by a farm horse and died. Oh, and then there was that cruel article about us in the Tidings.
Now, Sarah, that was a mistake. You need to let that rest.
Oh, somehow I feel it must be all connected. It was just a week after Sadie's death, the paper reported that Albert and Hattie, Sadie's twin sister, filed for a marriage license 3 days after Sadie's burial, causing everyone to think ill of our family and Albert.
It was an overzealous reporter. The paper did print an apology, saying that the story was entirely unfounded. They didn't mean to injure anyone, dear.
Oh, but the damage was done.
It's in the past now, Sarah. Hattie went on to marry Elmer Kovig. It's all right now, Sarah.
But I wonder still if Mrs. Long's spirit doesn't haunt that house, continuing to cause grief in hopes of someone finally discovering who her killer was.
Folks, Sarah's just trying to make sense out of all of this. If you've ever lost a child, you just know how hard it is to understand.
And you torment yourself with what you might have done. I never thought to instruct Sadie not to run if her clothes caught fire. It never occurred to me.
Sarah, dear, it wasn't your fault. It was no one's fault. And we simply have to go on for our other children.
Taking care of 3 others, loving them more than ever. Folks, when you go home, be sure to give your loved ones extra hugs, will you?
Sarah and I are sorry to burden you with our sadness, and we hope you can go on to happier tales. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.